analysis on political journey. So guys, we've had so much, I don't know even where to start. I think some of the things I'm supposed to discuss them tomorrow. But now, today cannot be over without me talking about political sagas here and there. And of course, I'll have to create 2 videos, one here and another one on a life saga. So please welcome, and let's be together. So guys, yesterday you saw me focusing on Nigeria, but today I want to talk about Botswana before I come to Nigeria. And of course, you understand there is a lot, all right? And I want us to understand something about Botswana currently, because as I told you, I'm covering the world over. All right, so welcome. I'm still waiting for you guys. I hope you've not slept. Wakey. All right, we may have to start and maybe we'll find us going. So recently we had this message from Botswana president.
I don't understand. You don't know the biggest producer of diamond. In this speech, he says something.
Yeah, remember Botswana is one of the greatest supply of diamond. And of course, they have so many other minerals. Yeah. We've seen Botswana actually launching citizenship program to boost the economy beyond diamonds, right? Yeah, Botswana DBS signed a long delayed diamond deal. I want us to just quickly go through Botswana so that you understand this, guys. And I'll be showing footages of different things. So, of course, Botswana is well endowed with hospitals, diamond, youth, and Gaborone, okay? Yeah, so let me just bring you something here. Yeah, let me bring you to something right here. This is Botswana for you, right? Yeah, I want to bring to you Botswana. All right. Botswana is bordered by Zambia, Angola, Namibia, Zimbabwe, right? This is Botswana for you. And when you want to look at Botswana, you'll see places, the northwest, of course, with places like Komana, Kogu, Nzaipan, Kwai, Becha, Seronga, Shakawe, Mohemba, and all that, okay? We have the Chobe area, which has Kachikau and Pandamatenga, just almost Zambia. Then on the Zimbabwe side, we have the northeast part of Zimbabwe. It has places like Tutume, Masunga, you know, Matitama, Soweto, Nata, Gweta, and all that, Mopipi among others. We have the central part, which has Mashora, Sorewe, Miabana, Palapie, Lekala, Mahalapie, Mapalashalala, Shoshong, Mosolotsane, Lemfefe. Then we have the Kweneng part. The Kweneng part, which is the southern, almost bordering, this is almost bordering South Africa, right? And so this is the side that has places like Moshupa, Kanye, Gasita, Lorolwane, Dutulwe, Tswana, Kaudwane, Botlamname, among others. Then we have the Klagadi side. The Klagadi side has Lokwabe, Hangunsi, Haukukwe, Kang, Motokwe, among others. Then we have now the Gansi, which is almost near Namibia. It has Charles Hill, Makunda, West Hahanai, Gansi, Grute, and all that, okay? So Botswana is one of the places which is endowed with a lot of facilities, or rather provisions, if you may ask me. Yeah? So welcome to Botswana, where we dive into politics, power, and people sharing Botswana today. There is not just a story of diamonds. It's a story of change, hope, and real challenges, right? Yeah, so historically, of course, when you look at Botswana, it has been praised as a very stable democracy that has been governed by Botswana Democratic Party since independence, guys, in 1966. So for nearly 58 years, this party has been leading uninterrupted, okay? Uninterrupted. I wish I would bring you the footages of, the leaders. Maybe I should do. Yeah. So maybe we should look at the presidents who have ever served Botswana. Yeah. And let's look at this. I don't know. Will we have the pictures? I hope so. Let's look at this. So the current president is there. We had this. We had that. Okay. So up to April 2008, we have Ihan Khama, who was born in 1953. Up to 2018, we have had Mokwezi Masisi, born in 1961. And then up to November 2024, Duma Boko as the president, okay? Yeah. And I want to show you the pictures right here. So we had Seretse Hana, Kwet Masire, then we had Festus Mogai, Ian Khama, then Mohizi Masese, then Duma Boko, right? So the incumbent in Botswana is Duma Boko, okay? So those are the, when you look at the politics of Botswana, that's what we want to dive into. Actually, I've given you the historical part of Botswana. Now, politically, we've seen that 2024 they had election, and the long chapter came to an end in October 2024. Actually, Botswana, since historical time, the umbrella for democratic change for the first time took over. And Duma Boko was the lead in these elections, okay? Yeah, so there was a very smooth transition from Mokwezi Masisi to the current Duma Boko. So it was a very graceful moment with Masisi conceding and giving over to Duma Boko. Okay, the swearing in moment happened for Duma Boko. We can watch it, but you don't have to currently. So, of course, when you look at Duma Boko, who is Duma Boko? Duma Boko, he was a lawyer. He was trained as a lawyer at Harvard University. And he was a human rights advocate and was a long-time opposition candidate. Yeah? So he was able to lead the coalition, UDC coalition, and win. So he's simply a social democrat. Yeah. And the vice president is known as Ndamba Gaolate, an economist for that matter. So we have a we have two people here, right? We have the social democrat and we have the economist. Now, of course, economic vulnerability of Botswana sits in the diamond dependence. Yeah, Botswana economically has a long history of relying on diamonds. Yeah, but that has become a double-edged sword. Yeah, global diamond prices have weakened, reducing revenues. And this economic strain has actually landed in the hands of Botswana when the leader is Duma Boko. Now, health-wise, Botswana is seeing some crisis. Actually, in August 2025, President Boko declared a public health emergency because of severe medical shortages. Now, remember, if a country has medical shortages, guys, even if you're the best leader, you don't have a say. Yeah? So, Botswana has had that problem. Boko was allocated 250 million pula and tasked the military with distribution of medicine. However, this isn't just a health issue. It is about governance, procurement systems, and physical pressures, okay? That's what normally affects health. Now, the diamond deal with, when we look at the economic diversification push that is coming up in Botswana, recognizing the risk of over-reliance on diamond is very important. Boko's government is pushing hard to diversify. They don't want just to keep relying on diamonds because, as I've told you, the prices of diamonds is weakening. Okay? Yeah, so the key moves that Boko wants are citizenship by investment program. One of these has been launched in 2025 to attract foreign capital. He has also conducted the Sovereign Wealth Fund. This was created to manage state resources and invest in non-diamond sectors. Okay? There was also a focus on renewable energy, tourism, mining beyond diamonds, and financial services are his focus or priority. Okay? So remember, Botswana has had a diamond deal with De Beers. We call it De Beers? Yeah, right. Yeah. So a big win. In early 2025, Botswana signed a long-awaited deal with the De Beers, boosting its share in rough diamond from 25% to 50%. Can you imagine that? Over a next decade. It's not easy. So the significance of this is that it has stabilized one of the country's most critical revenue sources, but also ties future economic health to diamond performance. You get it? Now, we have also had Botswana facing social challenges among the youth, employment, inequality. Unemployment is a major issue. But now in Botswana, it affects the youth. Many of Boko's campaign promises centered on jobs, remember, social justice, and reducing inequality. Now, there are calls of more inclusion, like immigrants from Zimbabwe have not been considered a lot. Now, there is opportunity and strategies in whatever moves Botswana have. The peaceful handover of power was one of the strongest symbols that indicated democracy in Botswana as very strong. So the legitimacy gives Boko a window to push reforms, but expectations are high, remember? Now, there's also the aspect of technology and innovation in Botswana. Boko's vision isn't just economic, it is modern. His government has shown interest in digital inclusion, even exploring Starlink for internet access. Can you imagine? So, Botswana has launched its first satellite, can you imagine? Called BOTSAT-1, marking the symbolic step into tech-driven future. So there is a high potential in the launching because we can see that technology can drive new sectors, jobs, and reduce over independence on natural sources such as diamond, okay? Kazij, a pet? I don't deal with pets, please. I don't deal with pets. I deal with people, so why are you saying a pet again? I deal with people, not pets. Thank you. Okay, so the foreign investment and strategic partnership aspect, we have looked at Botswana. Of course, the citizenship by investment program plus the new wealth fund shows that Botswana is looking outward to foreign investors, to new development models and long sustainability, okay? So De Beers deal also kind of strengthen Botswana's bargaining power. And I have to finish this. So the risks that Botswana faces are the fact that they are declaring health emergency in their country. You know, health is very important. Procurement processes are weak. There is possible corruption, weak institutional policies, which they have to look at. There is also a social backlash. Programs like citizenship by investment aren't coming without controversy. So while they can bring capital, they also raise questions about national identity, equity, and who can actually benefit. All right? So there is need for economic diversification, yes, but maybe the citizens may not feel the impact or the consequence immediately. The diamond market exposure also, even with a better deal like De Beers, Botswana still remains exposed to diamond markets volatility because as we've seen, there is a drop and rise in the prices of diamond, and this is affecting the physical aspect of diamond. Now, there is also political cohesion, which is affected even with what? UDC having been an umbrella kind of keeping the party's agenda aligned is a very big test for Botswana and Boko. So strategic outlook and scenarios surround aspects of optimistic scenario, of course, new Botswana. If Boko succeeds, Botswana could rebrand itself. Slow and steady is the way to go. So gradually they'll get the reforms working. Back to square one, of course, is an expected thing. If things go wrong, economic shocks, mismanagement, and corruption can derail the agenda. But anyway, why does this matter for edutainment? For the viewer, Botswana's story is more than just African politics. It's a microcosm of global challenges. How resource-rich countries in the changing world, how young populations demand more, how democratic change can open real opportunities, but also there are real risks, all right? Call to engagement. What do you actually think Botswana's future holds? May I see your comment? Is Duma Boko's vision realistic? Can diamond still drive the prosperity of, Botswana? Join in the conversation below by dropping a comment as we move on to listen to the president of Botswana. Here we are.
Very, very good things about development. Is this man moving to the direction of Ibrahim Traore, General Tiani, and Assimi Goita? Let's listen to what he has to say.
When I travel, I trim down the team. I don't want to take the minister, take her away from her core responsibilities, balloon the size of the delegation unnecessarily. Why? Because when I walk around, somebody must be holding my files and my briefcase and must always be whispering to me because I haven't read and I don't understand. I'm not human, and I can engage meaningfully with whoever. So I don't need a whole delegation. I can go alone, actually, by the way. I'm enough. By myself. I shall not be worthy representative of the bar of Botswana. As an advocate of this, when a foreign jurisdiction wants a legal opinion on any aspect of the law in Botswana, the law itself says you seek the opinion of an advocate in that jurisdiction. If I can render those opinions to foreign countries, I cannot go alone and engage. That would be a terrible vote of no confidence on not just myself, but the legal profession that raised me. So When I travel, I look at the size of, and they know I cut it down. I need myself. I need somebody who will tell these are the meetings. This is the place where the meeting is. Ordinarily, I'll do that myself. But they insist you must have somebody chaperoning you. Can't run away from some of these. But other than that, the Minister of International Relations has a lot on his plate. There are crises all over the place. And I have to take him because I'm going to discuss investments in Oman, investments in Ras Al Khaimah, investments in Switzerland. I have to be carrying a whole battalion and government doesn't work because it will be said, now you're operating away from... No. I am the chief diplomat of this republic. The foremost, most eloquent spokesperson of this republic is its president. And so when I step out there, brother, I step out in the service of this republic. And when I do so, I leave my all there. That's me. That's how we all must be. Every one of us. We don't need to be chaperoned.
All right, guys. All right. If you're watching me from a different country, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and drop a comment based on what you hear about the president of Botswana sharing. So the president of Botswana came up and indicated that there is no need of carrying a whole battalion of, diplomats following him from his country. He doesn't have to travel with a lot of ministers and all that. Now, it happens that most African nations, I'm sorry to say, you find that when a president is going to a meeting, he travels with a lot of delegates, a lot of them. Sometimes it's just too expensive for a nation, and again, it means a lot of things are not working. You get the gist? So when I hear sometimes our nation talking about being a first world country, yet one person or few people cannot represent us in whatever they're going to do, then I'm surprised. I'm so triggered and ignited and turned on by what the president of Botswana, Boko, is sharing here. And how I wish everybody would listen to him and understand that it's possible for the president, who is the chief diplomat and also who is supposed to be aware about matters in the country, who is supposed to be very vocal and charismatic, who is supposed to represent our interests, is able to go out there and do the discussions, do the negotiations without necessarily carrying a battalion of delegates. What do you think? Drop a comment as we continue listening to the president of Botswana just meanwhile before we get to other stories right here.
You don't need to be... No. You must know your stuff. You must read, you must inform. Information is readily available in this day and age. So sometimes it is nice, it is prestigious to have 20 people around you. No. Where we are, you need a very small delegation of people who are absolutely essential. When I went, I had a Geoscience Institute. I had a few. I had Botswana Development Corporation. Absolutely necessary for the conversations that I was going to have there. And from Oman, with the Omani Investment Authority, on the 26th of November, the head of the Omani Investment Authority will be here to do something pretty much like what we are doing. Projects, delivery. Anton Chekhov, don't tell me the moon is shining. Show me some glint of light on broken glass. That's what I'm showing now. Glint of light. Size of delegation, not important. Have you communicated with the Minister of International Relations? Yes. Sometimes I have to communicate with myself only. That's what the Constitution says. The President can act on his own advice. When he does, allow him. The Constitution has given him that power. No problem with it. The problem with it, you change the constitution. I follow it to the letter and its spirit.
All right, guys, it's a long speech. It's a long speech, actually. If we would really want to make a video just on Botswana, it would take a whole hour, I'm telling you. This guy does not want shortcuts. He says he will follow the constitution. And if people are uncomfortable with what he's doing, they better change the constitution, because according to him, everything he does is constitutional. Having a conversation with himself, deciding based on the interests of the nation, and also considering the role based on what he's doing. By the way, why do we have president carrying 20 people as delegates to go somewhere when maybe a meeting is just for environmental aspect? Why can they only carry the minister for environment and people within that like NEMA? Few representatives, then they'll save a lot of money for a country. But when I see a country where people keep complaining, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. But yeah, delegates going away to a simple summit that is only focused on maybe disaster management, whereby we will only need specific people. You find a whole delegate carrying people who are just going there to business tours or journeys that are not very important. I really agree with Boko, the president of Botswana, and I think he's moving to TAORE's process. I don't know. That is what I feel. And just to finish some a little loophole, maybe we'll be coming back to Botswana later, because I have become an admirer of nations which are progressive. I have become an admirer to nations where people are focused towards progress and they really say and do it. Because our Africa is crumbling down. Africa is going down because we have people who talk, but they don't do the talking. They do the talking, but they don't act right. But when I see a leader like TAORE, like Boko, who actually act right based on what they say, then I'm so excited. And I can't wait to see other leaders, taking the cause of these two leaders in Africa. Anyway, let's listen further. Of course, we'll be getting to this analysis another day fully. I will want to do a comparison of TAORE and Boko from Botswana, guys. And I hope I won't take a long time before I do this. So let's proceed with this. Guys, continue encouraging people to watch my channel, and I really appreciate it.
That's how we do these things. And so, trade, international relations, where they are required, you will see them. Where there's no way of excluding them, even if we wanted to trim down the size of the delegation, they will be there. But where we can do without many of these, we will, and save the country some money. That is why I've said, I say it again, that this country will be spectacularly different in 3 years. The first year is gone. It's got to happen. One member of parliament was admonishing me today. She says, you are setting timelines that are too tight. You are putting yourself under pressure. Give yourself some more leeway. I said, no. I want to put myself under immense pressure. When your house is burning, you run at breakneck speed. And we are at that point where we should work around the clock. These deadlines mean that we work day and night to deliver. And only after we've delivered, we'll be entitled to rest and gloat perhaps. So that we be a firm foundation for generations that will come after us.
Can you listen to that? Imagine. I can't imagine an African president thinking like this, but this is just an exciting moment that gives us hope. If presidents began to reason like Boko of Botswana and TAORE, we would be safe. People are interested in saving for the nation, not saving for themselves. People are interested to actually do things right. people who follow the constitution to the latter, people who actually come to share and indicate that they have not achieved. But then we have other caricatures out there. They'll talk about they have done, they have done, they have done, they have fulfilled 8 out of 10%. Charles Maingi, welcome, welcome. So when I look at the president of Botswana, I'm so ignited. Because he's one president who is proving that he knows he has not achieved, and he knows there is a task in his hands. He knows the whole country is on his shoulder, and he must press himself. He knows he has a duty to fulfill. Such a leader would really do very well, even in terms of integrity. And I'm telling you for sure, if we watch Botswana and give it a distance, I've already listed a lot about Botswana. You are going to see it at the great heights. Anyway, let's move to TAORE. TAORE gave a statement on Nigeria aspect, and I want us to look at that, okay? I know some people don't like to listen to these guys, but I want you to listen to what he said after Trump sent a message to Nigeria indicating that he may be sending his missiles to attack. Let's check on what he said. So welcome, welcome. Keep coming. Keep liking the video. Keep subscribing. And I really appreciate it. May God bless you in your endeavors as we proceed with this analysis. So here we are with TAORE.
Others took our voice and replaced it with their own. They wrote books about us. They made movies about us. They wrote the lessons that our children studied. They stood on the world stage and described Africa as if Africa was not present, as if Africa did not know itself, as if Africa had no memory, no pride, no soul. But today, that time ends. We rise now to say, Africa will speak for Africa. We are not silent because we are weak. We were silent because our voices were covered by colonizers, covered by propaganda, covered by those who feared what Africa could become if it remembered itself. But today the cover is removed. Today Africa remembers. When we tell our own story, we restore our honor, because our story is not a story of defeat. It is a story of endurance. It is a story of kingdoms, empires, builders, philosophers, warriors, and creators. It is a story of a people who have survived every storm and are still here, standing tall. The world called Africa poor, yet Africa is the richest land on earth. The world called Africa's primitive, yet African civilizations built knowledge that others later copied. The world said Africa needed saving, but Africa only needed space to breathe and room to rise. We are not asking for permission to speak. We are claiming what was always ours, our voice. Our story is not one of shame. Our story is not one of hopelessness. Our story is one of resilience, so powerful that no other people on earth have ever walked through such fire and remained alive. The African man and woman do not break. We bend, we suffer, we bleed, but we rise.
All right, guys. So yesterday I did an analysis of Nigeria. All right? You understand what is happening in Nigeria. Now, I wouldn't imagine that a solution would be a military attack, because that military attack will still bring down even the Christians. The same people are suffering. It will bring down those farmers who are suffering. It will bring down the landowners who have been suffering. All right? Kasioka Makudu, welcome. So, I'm looking at the aspect of Nigeria, and I don't think the solution would be in having Trump actually sending missiles there. The missiles will not help. The only thing they'll do is to aggravate the situation and bring down the development Nigeria has seen for years. So I really agree with what the Boko from Botswana has shared. Not really finished yet. Of course, I'll be coming to it another day. And what TAORE is sharing. And of course, TAORE spoke about Nigeria. And I want us to look ahead. I want us to skip some parts, then just talk about what he shared about Nigeria. Do you believe that Africa can rise? Do you believe that Africa was just silent because they didn't have a voice that was covered? Do you believe that even though we were considered poor, we are not? So let's see. Let's see what TAORE tells us here.
Our land, our identity were taken. We remained who we are at the core. Strong, proud, unbreakable. Resilience is not weakness disguised. Resilience is strength proven. Africa is also a continent of innovation. The world often pretends not to see it, but Africa creates, Africa builds, Africa transforms. From agriculture to technology, from art to science, our people continue to push forward. We are not waiting to be given solutions, we are creating our own. And we do not move forward alone, we move together. Unity is not just a dream, it is a necessity. When Africa stands together, no power on earth can hold down. We are stronger than the borders drawn by colonizers. We are stronger than the languages they tried to divide us with. We are stronger than the lies told about us. Africa is a continent of the future, because the future belongs to those who can endure, adapt, and rise again. And no one rises like Africa. Our land is rich. Our minds are rich. Our spirit is rich. The world knows this. That is why they fear our awakening. Truth, to restore pride, this is how nations rise. This is how continents awaken. This is how a people return to themselves. We speak now, and the world will hear us. Solidarity is not something we say only on stages or in speeches. It is something.
Yeah, guys. So when I look at that, you've seen me the previous 2 weeks I've been discussing matters Tanzania, and I came to discuss matters. I discussed Cote d'Ivoire, I discussed South Africa, I did discuss matters Uganda, and I discussed matters Sudan, and today I've discussed Botswana. Why do I do this? I even talked about Zambia, right? Why do I do this? It's because I know I belong to Africa. I don't belong to Kenya only. And from looking around the globe, looking around Africa, and also looking at what is happening in UK, what is happening in the USA, what's happening all over the world, there is a lot I can learn. There is a lot I can unlearn as well. And there is a lot we can think about doing and redoing or undoing as well. So guys, every time we come with political discussions, it's not because we are political. It's not because we were fighting for power. It's only that we would wish our nation to move ahead. It's only our wish to have our nation progressing. It's only our wish to have our leaders doing the best. It's only our wish to have the best in our hands. And of course, when they talk about equity, equality, when they talk about these aspects of, transparency, integrity, we really long for that. But do we get it? We don't get it because it is only something that people talk about, but they don't offer us that. You know, our leaders talk about it, but they don't offer us what we really need. Charles Maingi says we are too dependent on foreigners rather than working towards saving our country and hence our continent. Very true. When you look at what's happening in Tanzania, for example, the reality is that Suluhu has had collaborations with foreign nations to actually come in and begin mining, you know. And that is why what has happened right there is not a very good thing that we've seen. I've looked at Nigeria again, and I'm seeing that filthy encounter that is happening. We have seen a lot of fallen people, and we have externals who are intervening not to help. You know, like when Trump now declares a war on Nigeria, he is not helping. And that is why TAORE is saying that we have our own solutions. And if Africa unites, for example, if presidents from Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, you know, Botswana, I can see Botswana is having a very good president. Yeah? So if only they come together and discuss the solutions of Africa, they discuss the solution of Tanzania, they discuss the solution of Sudan, they discuss the solution of Nigeria, they discuss the solution of Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, then we would have a better Africa. However, it has happened that most times we are seeing people running from Africa to those other nations. And unfortunately, they are not going for the best jobs. What we are going to do is just the normal poor jobs. And our currency is running down as we rely on the currencies of other nations, just because maybe we are kind of ignorant in a way, and we are not having leaders who are pulling resources together and actually focusing towards growth. Because if we see Tanzania, for example, now attacking the foreigners, and it's unfortunate when I looked at the recent videos, people are saying that they are only against Kenyans. No. From the journalist who was interviewed yesterday, the people who are attacked in Tanzania, they are not only Kenyans. When you look at Uganda, after Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo came from there, the people were arrested and in cells. Some of them are Nigerians. Some of them are foreigners from other different nations. Just because Museveni feels those foreigners are the ones causing demonstrations in their country. You know, like they don't want a nation where people can speak and focus towards growth. All they want to do is to colonize the neo-colonialism in an African way that is not very good at all. And it doesn't help towards our progress. So I've really talked a lot and kind of emotionally about this. But I think Ibrahim Traore, and when you look at Boko, the president of Botswana, you look at the two and maybe others, I'll be checking slowly by slowly to understand who are these that are ready to help Africa become a better place. That is exactly what we need. Kari says Zaire, Mobutu Sese Seko. All right, I'll be checking because I have that interest. I have that interest that makes me feel Africa can be a mighty place. Very mighty, only if we focus. Only if we have leaders who are not focusing towards themselves, but towards the growth of Africa at large and the growth of, their nation. But unfortunately, things are not always like that. I don't know, for whatever reason, because it's unfortunate. For example, now I want to go to the aspect of FAYE, Senegal. What is happening in Senegal currently, it's so devastating. Senegal, the president and prime minister are clashing, and they are really showing to the world their clash. And I'm so sure that we are going to see some intervention from external bodies, and it will not be really helping. So Senegal's coalition government is falling apart. People who came together for a coalition now can't work together anymore. Just like in Kenya, people came together in an appointment that led a president picking a vice president. Then because of personal differences, they could no longer work together. They had to go separate ways. And it became so lethal. And even currently, the politics of Kenya are running on hatred because each one of them is pointing a finger at the other because they hate each other and they want to revenge on each other using the resources of the country and also using now the voters. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, actually. And how I wish now the citizens would look at this in that mindset and make a decision to, throw away both of them and maybe pick somebody else. I would wish that would happen so that it's a lesson to both that we don't have to rely on hatred as a way or a platform to growth. I'm just looking at Kalonzo Musyoka, for example, should be the candidate who will be given room. And I like what happened yesterday with Susan reminding the president in Kenya that you don't have to actually think that the opposition, they are a bure. Bure means empty-headed. That is the politics that our president has been selling. That if you are in the opposition, you are empty-headed. Is that true? I don't think so. An opposition means there is democracy. And if an opposition works and really sees the gaps in the current government, they make things better. So I don't know why the president is actually selling the narrative that those who are going to in the opposition, they are empty. It's neither there nor there. We can't operate like that. We cannot, even in our houses, expect that all the children will be supporting what we say as parents. We cannot expect as teachers that all that we say to the students is right, and we can't be challenged even by one student? What kind of world is that? I don't understand this. Sometimes when you sit down and talk about these things, you just realize, oh my God, no wonder Singapore is way forward and Kenya is stuck. Because of that greed, that selfishness, that aspect of looking at me and me and me, and then fighting each other. Even when a candidate vies for a position, it becomes a battle totally. Campaigns are battlefields. People have to throw abuses. How I wish that people would go into campaigns without necessarily even mentioning the other. They just say their manifesto and prove what they can do without necessarily having to make the other look dirty or maybe call names or try to force citizens to do something. Tell them that if you want to be in the cold forever, you continue standing in the opposition. What is that? That doesn't help. So let us look at the case of Senegal, where it is indicated Faye betrayed Sonko. Of course, they have been together. They were in the coalition. So what is happening to Africa? That's my question. My bitterness is what is happening to Africa. When you look at Senegal, unlike Botswana and TAORE's country, it's a different case. And let's look at this.
Yes, with their faces on it. Musicians were writing songs about this to transform Senegal and indeed the entire African continent. And right now, President Diomaye Faye and Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko are basically tearing each other apart in a power struggle that could destroy West Africa's most celebrated democracy. This could shake the entire Pan-African sovereignty movement down to its foundation, because just months back, nobody could touch these two guys. They swept through Senegal's 2024 presidential election on pure youth energy, anti-establishment rage.
Yeah, so can you imagine? Faye and Sonko made a coalition, and they were promising to improve Africa. Of course, Senegal is one of the countries that we know for democracy, right? But now currently, the prime minister is clashing with the president, and they're really tearing into each other in Senegal. Makata Losanti says, send food to America. Who? Me? Me send food to America? What is happening in America that they need food? Alright, so Faye actually removed Sonko's ally, and Sonko fired back. Okay? So, but Steph called it illegal. Then this isn't just a political drama, right? It's a full-blown war inside Senegal's ruling coalition. In my understanding, that is. Okay? Yeah, so when I look at this, I just don't understand whether it's a real betrayal, or is it control from the shadows? There is something I want to understand about this. If anyone understands or is watching, please drop a comment it best on our discussion on Faye and Sonko in Senegal, right? So there is a revolution that was happening right there, but the two people were brothers, you know, like they were working as brothers. The prime minister and president are currently tearing into each other, and they are the greatest political enemies currently. So we have really had a lot of celebration for Senegal, but unfortunately it may be coming down, you know. I always say it's about to go down. So there's a power struggle that is threatening West Africa as a democracy. It's shaking everything. Yeah. So of course we saw in March 2024, there was a dual sweep that gave victory to these two in overwhelming support, you know, from millions of young Africans who believed in democracy. And, you know, the young people did not believe in coups and all that. So they delivered, they wished that maybe whatever is happening in Senegal would help the rest of Africa. And that is why they did what they did. But we are not even 7 months down the line, right? And now, President Faye unilaterally removed a Sonko ally from coalition leadership. So he replaced her with a technocrat from all regimes. So Sonko's response has been very fast and very cruel. Yeah, he has said they neither share the values or principles. According to you know, Sonko, that is it. Okay? Now, what started like a political disagreement or just a mere conflict has now pushed a lot of economic crisis in Senegal. The Senegal's bond is being crushed slowly by slowly. And of course, IMF has decided to freeze the support that it was offering to Senegal. Somebody said here that it seems that a lot of people are relying on externals to help. MacArthur Lesan says, please send food to America. Trump is starving Americans. Oh, MacArthur, we will be doing so. Let's solicit funds together and we'll be doing so. All right? And that is why people should keep watching us so that we get some money and we can send to the people who are being starved. Actually, I don't know why people picked Trump in America for the second term. I don't know. I was very displeased when I looked at the final vote, but it happened. It happened. It happened. But when I look at what is happening, even the fact that the other day I saw Trump gathering there is a police known as National Police Guards. He put them in the streets. I was like, what is happening in America again? The National Police Guards are not supposed to be used just randomly, but they were all over the place in America. I was like, things are not going well. All right? So, actually, when we investigate into aspect of president consolidating power and prime ministers fighting to preserve the movement's radical vision, when we look at the economic desperation that is happening in Senegal as our friends turn into enemies, and we realize that there is a $11 billion hidden crisis. You know, there is a debt. Senegal has now $11 billion debt that is hidden. That is actually revealing how Senegal is leading, being led in the wrong way, you know, and a lot of young planning, because now it's like an illusion. You saw Army Raid, you thought it's water, you reach there, you realize it's just a tarmac. That is a very nasty thing to ever happen. So the revolution that they wanted is not there, it's not here. So what this power struggle means for Pan-Africanism, sovereignty movements, you know, across the continent, you know, I'm talking about across the continent, Africa. What does it mean? That whether democratic alternatives, you know, are offered to military coups can actually survive the pressure of the government. Okay? So, checking into this timeline, I don't know what Senegal can do. What is Pan-African doing? Can we have a solution maybe to this? Because I just believe that Pan-Africanism should not be sleeping giant. It should be something that is offering a solution to what is happening. Working against rising, you know, military force, the power politics that is going on, the illusions, by having strategic decisions that shape the continent's growth. That's what I would wish. Yeah? So that we see Beijing to Washington and Moscow to African Union and all that. The motives and maneuvering process should be swift. I don't know what's happening, actually. But I want us to look at a different angle here. But we'll be looking into Singapore, because how did Singapore get where it is? Okay? Now remember, there is a common program in Kenya called Fixing the Nation on NTV. It's always broadcasted. Now I was listening to it and they were trying to say, everybody has to speak. Everybody has to speak. I'm from Kenya, apparently, and I'm not happy with the situation on the ground in some areas. Not everything, but some situations. All right? And the lies that go on and all that, I'm not happy about it. So when I listen to Fixing the Nation, I feel like it's about the voices, people speaking, frankly, without really worrying. But we have this force that is making a lot of people quiet, especially the whistleblowers. We had the opposition that was supposed to speak, but currently is keeping quiet. And I think before I even go to Fixing the Nation, there is someone who spoke somewhere. And I want to bring her to books. the daughter of the fallen hero, Raila Odinga. Now, this is the moment to listen to people like this instead of waiting until someone is dead. And then people will be all over the place parading, masquerading, pretending as if they understand what is expected when they don't. It's unfortunate, actually. Let's look at this.
You know, when you have a great tragedy, people get confused and they act in strange ways. Lakini if anyone is thinking like that, wajua kwamba ODM inajenga na hatuna mchezo. ODM si chama kilichojazaliwa kama siri. Nasikia kuna wengine ambao wanatembea nasi mchana lakini usiku wanajaribu kuuza hii chama. Haiwezekani. ODM was not born in a bedroom. It was not made in a bedroom. So its future will not be discussed as pillow talk.
All right, guys, you understand what Winnie was meaning there, okay? I like this lady. She's taking the enigma of the father. And that's what your children should do. Actually, when you grow, when you are living your life, let the kids see something in you. Let them see that bravery, that urge to have better things, that urge to speak out the right thing, that urge to always disagree when matters are not right. But when you're just, I call it a drumhead, or is it, I don't know what to call it. Simply taking things as they are and celebrating mediocrity and accepting whatever is there just because life has to go on. That's not the way to go. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. So let's continue listening to Winnie. And she spoke. Whatever she speaks is very right. Should we really have people going to boardrooms currently when we have serious problems? Should they not just call for what a spade? And that is why I like Ukambani. Yesterday, they really stood up and told the president the right things. Like they had to tell him, to ask him questions openly. Questions that I've not seen people asking him elsewhere, I'm surprised. When I was young, and especially in university, people used to say that people from Ukambani are mild, they cannot talk, but I'm so proud about them. I'm so proud that yesterday, even when they went as media, they just call a spade, a spoon, not a big spade, a big spoon for a spade, and a small spade for a spoon. No. So I'm looking at this as Winnie is speaking. We should be getting ready to also listen to the questions that the president was asked in Ukambani. And let's think about how he responds. Is he being truthful? Is there hope? That's our question. So let's look at this.
Kusimama na mimi ama sisi wakati tulipoteza baba. Najua sote tunasikia tumeibiwa. Tumechanganyikiwa na tuko na huzuni. Lakini leo nilitaka kuchukua fursa kuwashukuru vijana wa ODM. Nimepokea ujumbe wenu wote wa rambirambi na kutoka moyoni mwangu, asanteni sana. Ya pili, ningependa kuwashukuru wa mama wa ODM. Waliniambia lazima niondoke nyumbani nikuje niongee na vijana wenzangu, so
Samuel Kibuba, welcome.
Watatu.
What in that?
Ningependa kuwashukuru madem wa ODM. Kumpoteza baba sio rahisi. Kama vijana wa ODM shauri. Just tell him, anapenda kuniingilia sana. Tunahitaji kupanga, tunahitaji kujipanga, and we need to make this party strong all over the country.
Yes, have you?
Until the heavens do baba tusikize. Nimesikia mazungumzo za magawanyiko ya chama. Sahau ya yote. Baba alikuwa anasema hiyo ni nini ya chura? Kilio cha chura manini? Kelele cha chura.
Kelele ya chura.
You know, when you have a great tragedy, People get confused and they act in strange ways. Lakini if anyone is thinking like that, wajua kwamba ODM inajenga na hatuna mchezo. ODM si chama kilichojazaliwa kama siri. Nasikia kuna wengine ambao wametembea nasi mchana lakini usiku wanajaribu kuuza hii chama. Haiwezekani. ODM was not born in a bedroom. It was made in a bedroom. So its future will not be discussed as pillow talk. It has been the heartbeat of the Kenyan people for 20 years. ODM was born from protest. It was raised in resistance. And the people of ODM have time and time again bled, sweat, and shed tears for this country called Kenya. We are sorry that we don't always get it right. Poleni. But we will never be sorry for being inconvenient. They like to call us a party of goons. What we're doing is nation building. Nation building is untidy. Nation building is inconvenient. Nation building is uncomfortable. Nation building has left us in tears as ODM, as the People's Party, time and time again. But we, ODM, belong to the people. And we will continue growing because the young people of ODM have conviction.
All right, guys. I want us to proceed. There is one thing that I'm for sure I wish every other part of Kenya should now take hold of. You know, just making the president accountable. Telling the truth, speaking as it is. I've seen areas whereby the president goes. I was so annoyed with the situation of Mumias. Like when the president went to Mumias and I saw him in Mumias complex, a lot of people did not challenge him to the task. While he was selling the aspect of Nyota program, people never challenged him with questions as it happened in Ukambani. But now I wish that people have seen an example that I really wish should happen all over the place. So that he has this task. Let him answer the question. Let us see whether he will be truthful, he will lie, or he will actually tell us what is ahead. Now I was insinuated by these questions in an interview that our president was asked. And I want you to check on how he responded. Somehow he would laugh at some interviewers and then tell them, you have been reading a lot of social media. He will be whatever. I don't know whether that was true. Let's just see this. I want you to listen to this, for example. That was one of the questions.
Some of the programs are not necessarily popular, but they are the right things to do. You know? So, and that is how countries change. Countries are changing. Many people are now beginning to say, maybe Ruto knows what he's doing. Yeah?
Maybe.
Because what they never believed that what we were saying today, the housing fund is doing
that housing fund
230,000 houses. We are
I
doing
don't like even listening
markets,
to that,
including right behind here. We're going to be building a market at Kalundu here in Kitui. We are doing another market at
Samuel Kiguba says some of them are scapegoats.
We are doing a market in Zombe. We are doing a market in
markets,
market
roads,
in Mwingi town
and houses.
We are doing. I handed over today a market that is complete in Kamuongo. So this is reality. This is not a story. This is not something that you saw the pictures of affordable housing in Makueni yesterday in Wote. Did you? Right?
Yes, we
did. So, you know,
we are seeing it being postponed to April. And you said that the government has sourced 9.3 million. Billion to complete. Maybe which phase are we talking of, and why should we believe you? Because it is not the first time that we are seeing FAYE being postponed. Will it not get to April and then we start hearing stories? The other one, talking of the affordable houses, Mr. President, from where you sit, do you think these houses are really affordable? Because we understand that apart from what the monthly payment of maybe 3,000 that the locals have to pay once they get into the houses, there is like a deposit that has to be made for that house to be yours. Do you really believe that they are affordable to the mama bogas?
Let's listen to what he'll say.
About? And again, we've heard that some are being started when there is no resettlement plan, and then it throws the governors into maybe a state of unknown, and then they keep delaying. Maybe what do you have to say about that?
I think you have been reading a lot of social media.
Did you hear that? You have been reading a lot of social media. Really?
Tell you, Andrew, that for Twake, it is a big program. Yeah? And the reason why we have kept on postponing Twake is because we are using it, or we are building it on borrowed money. You know, if you are building it on somebody else's money, you can never be sure when you are going to complete it. And that is why I am saying we must change. We must have a national infrastructure fund that gives us a fund like the housing fund. Today, we have been able to build Kamungo market.
Now he goes back to the market.
You will never get a house of 3 million shillings anywhere. Houses start, the 3 bedrooms start from 10 million going upwards. So I can confirm to you that these houses are affordable. Of course, there are different categories.
3 million is affordable for Mama Mboga, Mr. President. There was another question he was asked again. I want us to look at that. I'm just picking like 2 different questions or 3. Then I go to a different thing. In fact, our time is almost up. I'm just about maybe maximum of 10 minutes and I'll be gone. The other question he was asked is here.
Dennis, you have asked a very good question. Mpango wa masomo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Dennis, So, Dennis, you have asked a very good question. Mpango wa masomo ya watoto wa Kenya ni mpango ya muhimu sana. Kwa sababu elimu ndio inasawazisha watoto wa Kenya. Watoto wa maskini, watoto wa tajiri wanakuwa sawa.
Are you so sure? Currently, is Mr. President very sure that education is the equalizer? I don't think currently that education is becoming an equalizer. Because when you look at how expensive university education has become, there are students who will drop out without finishing. And again, even though we have this, like look at now what has happened to the kind of school fees that is going to be paid in day schools and also boarding schools. You know, so that is just too much. And I don't think that this is going to help the nation to actually move ahead, you know. So when I look at that analysis, I don't accept that whatever our president was saying there was actually true, that education is the equalizer. It's no longer the equalizer. It seems that even when you look at matters, maybe politics is actually pulling people up. Like they go to the 4th level while others are still stuck on ground floor. Because now politics is giving room to people to siphon, you know, to create deals. They are the suppliers. Look at what Sakaja, the report that was issued that Sakaja actually was, is forcing every other, you know, organization to pay money to Syrian Bank. And it is indicated Syrian Bank, actually currently there are a lot of shares which our president himself, and so now when you look at that, you look at it and you don't understand what's happening, you know. I just don't want to understand much. But look at that. Now, by the time, if we are not careful, Sakaja will be a billionaire, even a trillionaire. Mike Sonko, through whichever other ways, is one of the richest people in Kenya. And look at other politicians, Kimani Ichung'wah, Oscar Sudi, Farouk. Were they really equalized or made wealthy by education? So, Mr. President, when you tell us that, you know, education is the equalizer, I don't think currently it does. Let's just listen to whatever he's saying, because the question was, when is he actually confirming the JSS teachers, intern teachers? That was the question. So let's listen.
Wakipata hili mambo ya CBC, wazazi walikuwa wanalalamika, walimu hawakuwa na uhakikisho. Jambo la kwanza nilifanya, nilitafuta Profesa Munavu ambaye alinifunza kule Chiromo. Nikamwambia tafadhali ukuwe mwenyekiti. Akapanga mambo, tukawa na jopo maalum ambaye iliangalia mambo ya elimu, ikasema hii tufanye namna hii, hii tufanye namna hii, tukanyorosha ile maneno ya CBC. Sasa CBC inaeleweka.
Really?
Ya kwanza.
Even
ya pili.
Mr. President again, are you so sure? Because citizens, even parents, don't understand what CBC is. I'm a parent, I'm a teacher as well, but I don't understand clearly up to now. If you ask me, I'm not very clear about that CBE. And those students are coming to high school next year. I'm in high school. How am I going to handle the grade 10? Some of us have not gone for those workshops because actually it seems that the government decided few teachers should go. So the few teachers who went, they never even came to school to share any information with other teachers. And then you are saying it's now imeeleweka. Oh my God.
Tulikuwa na gap kubwa ya walimu.
Yeah.
110,000 shortage of teachers. January, I will have hired 100,000.
Okay.
And by next year, I'll have closed the gap.
Okay.
Unanielewa? I'll have closed the gap. Kila serikali ilikuwa inaajiri walimu 5,000 kila mwaka. In 5 years, unaajiri walimu 25,000.
You have forgotten that the system changed. With JSS, you could not compare yourself to the former presidents, Mr. President. You cannot.
Ya kwamba 2 years ikiisha, hakuna kuulizana, transition. Mara kwa moja, anakuwa permanent and pensionable.
Okay.
So, that is the plan.
Oh.
And you see, it helps me meet the target, you know, but also assists the teachers who are not employed. Instead of them being out, let one leg be in, with the assurance that when the time comes, they will all be absorbed as permanent and pensioner. So I want to assure every intern in the Republic of Kenya.
That was a very good question for the teachers, the intern teachers, because they are stuck. Then there was a question on his relationship with Kalonzo Musyoka. Let's see how he'll answer. That is the last of our question. Then we'll come to...
Imechezwa katika uwanja wa ukabila. Imechezwa kwa kufuatilia sio sera. You know, sio mtu anasimama anasema mimi naona tuende mbele, tufanye hii, tufanye hii, tufanye hii, tufanye hii. Na ndio unaona saa zingine watu wananikosoa kwa sababu mimi nilisimama na nikawaambia Wakenya nitafanya hii, nitafanya hii, nitafanya hii, nitafanya hii. So wananiuliza, wewe bwana, ulisema utafanya hii, ulisema utafanya hii. Ndio unaona hata watu wa upinzani au watu wanajaribu kupingana na mimi, they cannot put together a plan. Unaona watu wanazunguka one time, Kasongo, hawezi kukuambia anything useful because they don't want to be held to account. I am ready to be held to account. Mimi nilisema nitatoa watu kwa CRB, Credit Reference Bureau. Kulikuwa na watu zaidi ya milioni 7 walikuwa kwa CRB. Hiyo ni kweli ama si kweli? Leo there is nobody in CRB. We have removed them. We have transferred them to Hustler Fund.
Really?
Hustler Fund today is lending money to 2 million Kenyans every month. Are we together?
We are not together. Let's listen.
And I'm willing to answer. Number 2, I told the people of Kenya, I am going to implement a housing program. Today, a housing program is going on in Kenya. I told the people of Kenya, number 3, that I'm going to change the way we deliver universal health coverage. We are going to change it. Today, I have passed
before you came.
as much as it matters to all the other issues from all other communities and all other regions matter to the government of Kenya.
Maybe, Mr. President, before we move on to the next question, I would like to add a question there. Because we are in Cumberland, and many people would ask, what is your relationship with the Wiper leader, Kalonzo Musyoka? When was the last time you spoke together? Maybe we have seen in the newspapers you are quoting him. Is it true? How is the progress? And maybe lastly, why was it necessary for the empowerment programs before you came?
My friend, the workings of matters of citizens are when you're running development comes in different shades, right? We now have a Nyota program. I hope you're aware. We have a Nyota program that is going to give 50,000 shillings to 70 young people aged between 18 and 29 in every ward in Kenya. Every ward in Kenya. Not in specific corners of Kenya. Every ward in Kenya. When we ran the empowerment program, it was for every part of Kenya. It was not for Ukambani. It was for every part of Kenya. Because I believe in Kenya. I believe in the whole of Kenya. It is not just money. It is not about politics. It's about the development of a nation called Kenya. I'm not here to discuss matters to do with politics. I am here to discuss the development of the great people of Kambani. And I will limit myself to that. Matters ya politics utaongea siku yake ikifika.
So he actually, our president, had to avoid that question about the relationship with Kalonzo Musyoka. I don't know, for whatever reason, he had to avoid talking about that. And empowerment, he said it's not about the people of Kampani. I'm not so sure about it. I would wish to see comments from your end as we come to the last aspect, of what the fixing the nation have in the house. Of course, they were trying to say that the recent bombshell from the Bishop of Kisumu is not the first or the last, that he has always been like that. So let's get to hear that again.
When we say clergy don't speak, we should actually look at such. Clergy speaks. Clergy actually do speak. And we'll be looking at the front page of the Daily Nation and see clergy actually do speak.
Before you go to the other story, mbunge wa Homa Bay mjini Peter Kaluma aliwataka Waluo wasisikize maoni ya watu ambao wana nia ya kuwatoa katika serikali.
They want to get us out.
Okay.
Hebu tupatie wewe Bitaifa nikiingia katika dondoo.
Sawa, Bitaifa leo ni Joan Wangeshi, ana miaka 21, ndiye mwenye bahati leo. Bi Wangeshi ni mwanafesheni kutoka jijini Nakuru. Uraibu wake ni kuogelea, kutalii na kusoma. Yeah, your interests have to align bana.
Like
unasafiri.
Tia wazobonzo kuna mzee mmoja hapa ambaye anakana amefungua manhole ambayo imefunikwa na maji. Anasema kuchezea hapa ni sawa na kwenda kwa jirani uimbe hakutakuwa na nywi wala nywi.
What? What does that mean?
Lakini ukishaingia ndani ya maisha yake utagundua ni mwenye wivu wa kupindukia, mlaghai na atengwa. Buda mmoja
Angalia mwelekeo wa upepo kwanza. Salale. So it's good that the websites ask if you're human. Although I do wonder, you think a bot is not smart?
A bot would say no.
No, I'm not human.
I'm a bot.
Like an X. Yeah.
Because nowadays with AI, a bot would identify it. Tick all the boxes that have
a traffic light. Yeah.
Yes. A bot.
In so quickly.
Yeah.
It'll do it faster than you.
Faster than a human. Maybe that's what the other now AI will also be able to. You are clicking.
All right, so in the analysis of fixing the nation, of course, what they did, they realized that people are asking for fixation of school crisis and share aspects, okay? Oh my goodness. All right, so we come to an end, but it's such an absurd situation in some of these things, but there is hope ahead. I always believe there is something, there is light. Show me the light and I'll show you the reflection, okay? So good night. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I appreciate. Today we've had only one video here, but tomorrow it's another day. So I appreciate. May God provide protection to your families, to yourself, and also enhance your success in your endeavors. Let our prayers also work. And I know that one day we'll be smiling all the way to our progress. Bye-bye for now. Let's meet later. Continue subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos. Kudos.